How's it going, everybody? Vandrin here. I just wanted to pop in here at the beginning of this video because we had a few issues overall during the stream from last Monday. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up that the audio on this stream is a little bit wonky. It is somewhat bearable, but it is definitely not our normal audio solution. So I really wanted to let you guys know ahead of time before you started watching this episode of what was going on. Our audio mixer was having some issues with one of the microphones, but all the other three were working perfectly fine. So what I ended up doing was connecting an external microphone and then just dropping my mic. Unfortunately, that caused a lot of echo, reverberation, and other issues. And then as we kind of went on, we noticed that the battery on Phoenix's mic actually went down as well. So unfortunately, we had a plethora of issues. However, we have actually already fixed them for our upcoming episode on this Monday. So you shouldn't have these issues going forward, and hopefully the stream recording here is good enough to get by. I am currently typing down kind of a transcript of the episode and trying to put it into like a novel style format that you guys can go through and actually read on our website. It is taking me a little bit of extra time, so hopefully I'll have it done by the end of the day today. If not, I'm going to be working on it over the weekend and hopefully have it ready for you guys before the episode on Monday. Other than that, I'm also hoping to do like a voiceover read from the actual transcript as well. So we'll see if that works. And if so, if it works out, I'll post that as a video as well. So just kind of testing a few things out here, seeing how we can remedy this overall. But again, I just wanted to let you guys know in advance before watching the video that there are going to be a couple of issues. Please don't hold it against us too hard because we've already fixed them, and going forward, these issues should not be persisting. So without further ado, let's jump into tonight's episode. Turn the audio on. There we are. So thank you those of you that are already joining in here with us. Well, 1 second, because I just realized that if you can hear me through their mics, I don't have it on this scene conveniently. So 1 second. And now you can hear me properly. So this is the issue that we were dealing with there for the first couple minutes. I just had an audio issue where one of the microphones, the one that I typically wear, stopped working. So I have a just standalone microphone. If there are any issues with that, definitely let us know in the chat so that we can make sure that the experience is still good for you guys while using different equipment that's kind of new to us. I've used this mic before, but not on this stream, so having everything kind of together at the same time may cause some issues. So please don't feel like we're going to get upset or whatever if you just let us know, hey, the audio is wonky. Please let us know. That helps us. So anyways, to start things off, as we've been doing throughout this entire month, we are partnered with RoleThis for a pretty massive giveaway of their collector's set. I think it's called like the complete set. I think that's what it's called on their website. If you go to what is that giveaway one? If you put ! giveaway in the chat, you'll get one thing, which is the Worlds deck. If you do !Reckless, you'll get the overall giveaway where you can win the complete set. So we're giving away a Worlds deck every week until the 29th, which actually this is the last week giving away the Worlds deck. And next week we will be drawing the winner live during our show at the halfway point for the complete set. So that's a $225 value. You can go to RoleThis.com/reckless to pull up their site, or just recklessdeck.com. Either way gets you the same spot. One just links through our website and the other one is just their website. But either way, if you're interested in Reckless Deck, which is a phenomenal world building and character creation random generator card deck, you can go to recklessdeck.com and use the code RoleThis1 to actually save 15% currently. There may be some changes to that, so if you're just kind of on the fence about it, go ahead and wait a week, because there may be some changes to that coming up soon that might be kind of cool. We're still in discussions with them on some really neat stuff overall for the community and for our generalized like partnership as well. So stay tuned, because I can't say everything yet because it's not fully locked in, but there's some really cool stuff that we're talking about. So may or may not be really beneficial for artists. Yeah, Reckless deck is phenomenal. We will be giving away World's deck at our halfway point tonight as a code word in the chat, and then you guys can head to the it's RoleThis.com/giveaway. That's what the actual link is now, or giveaway.RoleThis.com. Either one will take you to literally the exact same landing page where you can get entered in to win that complete set. But that's it as far as announcement stuff. Our website is up, functioning. It was down for a couple weeks, so if you missed last week's announcement on that, there's your announcement now. Website is back up. Does have the merch back on it, as well as the new first iteration of the Shiny Swords Do More Damage shirt. That one is going to be somewhat limited because we're working on a variant design for it, and then we'll decide which one we actually keep in the shop and which one goes away after we put the new one out. So it's going to be more of a framed with the swords kind of look to it. So depending on what your preference is, if you like the up on the chest look, then you might want to buy it now. If you are interested in seeing what like a framed kind of square full body variant of it would be, then maybe wait a week or so. A lot of stuff's happening in a week. Anyways, that's it for us as far as announcement stuff. So we'll switch over here to everyone and recap where we were last week. So, I'll pull up Discord just in case those communications. But where we were last week, they had the party had stepped away from the clearing where the slaughter had taken place, where Lamore had fallen, and where Maze and Kael had kind of really come to a head. They then all journeyed off with Maze and Elanduar, who was our new elven ranger, who has just joined the party at that scene of carnage. They all kind of ventured off westward to head back to the road towards Dwevelhelm, which was the initial goal of Maze and Kael and Coral prior to being lured into the forest. They hit the road. They did after journeying through it was a barrier into the Feywild. That's what it was. And after having some suspicious muffins from a very pleasant and completely opposite to the experiences they've had thus far, individual offered to them. Her name was Mira, very pleasant young woman or
creepily present
woman, possibly. Determined by how you look at the Feywild, but young woman that was cooking mulberry muffins that everybody thought was pies when they first smelled them, and then ended up going and experiencing some wonderful mulberry muffins. After that, feeling somewhat revitalized from that and a little at ease after dealing with so much darkness and getting that brief glimpse of light, the party adventured back out, and upon walking just a few hundred feet from the house, they were back in the dark woods. Coral immediately tried to just go back. She wanted more muffins. She wanted to be back in that pleasant place. And the gateway was gone. The moment in time that they passed through that clearing was the only moment in time that space was there, as far as they're aware. Going forward, they found the road again, and with Maze leading the charge back up to the north, Kael in the middle, and Elanduar pulling up the rear, a hand suddenly burst out of a tree magically and grabbed Kael, pulling him in, with Coral failing a dexterity roll, falling off of his shoulder, landing between Maze and Elanduar as her only real friend in this moment was vanished through a tree. Kael Strats came to from that, sitting in the hearth area of CERN, his random companion that
I think
joined
you're
him in, prior to the scene of carnage at the clearing, at the bonfire clearing, and began to discuss some things with him. Maze and Elanduar had to make a decision as to what they were going to do. Elanduar sensed the dragon presence that follows Kael around off to the west, off the main road. They turned, stepping back into the forest after just coming to a point where they would see the end of the path through it. And that's where the ends up now with Maze, Elanduar, and Coral now walking through the fairly dense undergrowth headed due west.
I think your mic is muted in this scene.
It doesn't exist at all.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Gotcha.
That's why he's quiet.
Yeah, he's picking up through our mic.
He's hearing us.
Yeah, so,
Do you want us to carry on while you fix it?
yes.
Okay.
So we're picking up where you guys are coming into things, and
Now, quick question while you fix that. Is it possible that my new heightened sense of smell, I could possibly track Kael? His tracking is within 15 feet unless he's downwind.
since I'm back now, audio-wise.
And the first thing you do is ask a question.
Whoever mentioned that, thank you for mentioning that.
Yes, thanks,
appreciate it a lot. So, that should be the only, just to double check, I think that's the last scene that will have that issue. Every other scene is muted. It's just this and the other DM one. So we're good. But as far as your tracking ability, he vanished into a tree. So
we can track him to the tree?
You can be tracked to the tree.
Okay, so I won't be able to
You could use a survival roll to find out that he went to the tree.
Do it!
Yeah.
Just do it!
Yeah, so
We know how I roll.
yeah, he is in the perfect. Yeah, thanks, Gabe, for that. He's in the west per the spell that Elanduar cast. Well, a draconic figure is in the west.
Yes.
The spell
I don't even know.
specifically designates a
Yeah.
type of individual. It doesn't designate a specific individual. So, just based on what I said as DM to players, yeah, it's Kael. But as far as what your characters actually know is that there's a draconic presence that way. It could be Kael.
Yeah, I mean,
Which-
it could be any of the other, 6 dragons?
That's true. We know a lot of dragons.
There is what's her name? That is like from Felhar or in Felhar.
Morelia
Morelia.
and Tyrael poofed off, but you guys did sleep after that, so they've been away from you for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Who knows the direction, but they have been away from you in that time, and they were headed south when they left. But there is technically a chance it could just be one of them, or someone else of that nature.
And we had kind of decided to head that direction.
Okay.
So we'll start heading.
So who's leading that?
Mace is still in the lead.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask Coral to get in front of me, so she'll be in the middle.
Maze just really turns to Coral. Coral, are you okay to walk?
Yeah.
If you get tired, you can crawl up on my shoulder. I know it's not as big as his.
She just looks up at you like, "Oh, you're being nice." Like she looks at you with this really confused look, and just kind of like takes a half step back towards Elanduar. Like looks like she's gonna look at him, but then doesn't quite break your gaze. Just kind of like, "Nope, don't look away." And then just shakes her head and just kind of keeps her hood up and looks down.
Mace just walks.
And I'll take care of the rear.
So are we still heading west? I mean, you're from this woods.
From the woods, yes, but I am not. Yes, it's called the shifting woods. I am not from this. I'm not from this area,
Okay.
but I'm kind of familiar with this terrain, so I know kind of where we should be heading. So you go one direction. If you are wrong, I'll tell you to change.
So, Maze, since you're leading this, do a survival roll. Since you are heading up kind of the back end of it, you're kind of assisting. So you could either make your own roll to correct anything she may not see, or you can give her advantage on that. So I would recommend do your roll.
I'll do my own.
You are
So
a ranger.
and that is a what? Survival?
Survival, yeah.
Mine's an 8.
Okay.
That's
Mine's
+1.
a 25.
Okay. So, Maze, you actually start just walking back towards the road. and
No,
and,
no.
Yeah.
So I kind of take her by the shoulders.
Even Coral is just like, but we just left that.
You're joking, right?
Oh.
So I take her shoulders
Wait,
and
that way?
put them in the direction.
Yeah.
That way,
Oh.
yes.
Shifting.
Weast?
Yeah,
Weast.
You must hit Weast. But yeah, so you guys are heading out through
Maybe
there.
I should lead.
Are you still leading?
Maybe you should leave.
Well,
Okay.
you were walking to the back of the line,
Yeah,
maybe.
don't follow
Okay,
me.
so I'll take.
Okay, so I'll let you that roll carry over a little bit for
Okay.
this.
Intentionally walk the wrong way so he takes the front.
Yeah, right. And
That's such a maze move.
I know.
yeah, exactly.
It's like
Um,
amazing here.
So you guys actually managed to keep going for a good 2 hours or so. You're well off the road now. You're still headed in the same general direction. That spell is a cast and gone, right? It's not like a tracking spell. I forget.
Yeah, it's only for 1 minute.
That's what I thought. So
Mhm.
it would have faded basically by the time you decided you were leading.
Right.
And so you know the general direction still. You could determine it further if you wanted to at this time, or simply continue on if you'd like to.
We'll just continue in the same direction.
So make another survival roll,
Do I need to make sure we're going the same way?
That's a 10.
and then
Because Maze wants to argue.
both of you make a perception roll.
Perception. Um,
Perception's 21. Survival was
20.
Okay. If you want to make the survival to try that, you can, but it's okay. Yeah, just because the way you worded it, I was like, that would actually kind of make
Maze
sense.
would argue
Almost
it,
being like
but,
argumentative
yeah.
again. Yeah. So you probably still think it's that way.
I still
You're
do.
actually like,
And now I'm
you
like,
might be right. Everything is kind of looking the same here.
it's been a while.
But
To walk
Because I
uh,
rolled a basically 13.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
I know, I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure it
I've
was
seen
this way.
Rock before. I think I've seen this rock.
How they all look the same.
Coral just looks at the both of you. It's like points and then walks off that direction she's pointing.
Okay,
Yeah,
I,
It doesn't even say a
I
word, just is
followed
like.
Coral.
I guess she's in the lead now.
And then now that you guys are kind of headed that way, she just kind of vanishes up a tree. So you guys are still all together.
We're still-
She's still
yeah.
with you, but you can see her. She's like skipping from branch to branch, kind of thing. The very dexterous little rogue. So you guys continue on, and you continue on for a few more feet. And based on the perception rolls you guys had, you start to hear this kind of like shuffling, moving, like kind of rumbly sound, just a little ways ahead and kind of slight north from where you guys are, but like close enough that it's probably within 100 yards of you,
Oh, that's
whatever it
pretty
is.
Maze will kind of whisper up to Coral. Coral, can you see what that is?
Where she is.
Scout ahead. When you scout ahead, people.
Hold on. She takes off, which I'll have to actually. That's what I thought. And she is gone for about 5 to 10 minutes, and you guys are still just hearing this.
Still hear it? Purple.
Maybe the shifting force is shifting,
I really hope that's the sound.
which means now we have to head east. I don't remember how this works. It's shifting.
Would my senses detect anything?
Not here.
Yeah.
What kind of senses are you looking for? What specifically are you hoping to use to determine what may be
Sense of
happening?
I mean, because this is something that more like I don't know I have this ability. I'm just wondering if it would hit me.
Like a
I'm like,
passive?
oh, I smell something.
Specifying a sense of smell
Like if it's
onto.
another werewolf, possibly, because I know they're out here.
Actually, you do get a slight hint of, and it's still just rolling in that same perception roll, since it's all kind of the same moment. You get a slight, like, sweat smell,
Okay.
almost. Just like if you've been working outside all day long and forgot deodorant that morning. Like,
Oh.
that's kind of the smell that hits your
Gotcha.
nose, but it's very faint, even with your heightened senses of smell. And you've noticed recently that ever since the battle, you have been like on high alert. Like it's almost giving you a headache. The smells, the way that they're all hitting you, I mean, and you just feel like everything's more enhanced as far as your senses go. But yeah, you smell kind of that sweaty smell from general northwest area.
I'll just share with Elanduar.
Elanduar.
Eldorado.
It's not Elanduar, it's Elanduar.
Okay, Eldor.
Wow.
I smell some slight smell like a sweat. I can't explain.
Is it me?
You a little bit, yes.
Oh.
But this is from a different direction.
Oh.
But I say we wait till Coral comes back.
Alright, and then I'm gonna call out for Coral.
Well, I trust her. She doesn't know that.
Oh, no, I'll call out for her. Coral! Where are you?
Aren't you ruining the stealthiness of
Bingo, you are.
Don't care.
So you hear the
Mace's like, I would
And
totally
it just
put my hand
stops.
over your mouth, but I don't know what it will do
Right.
if I do that to you.
noise stops completely,
I shouldn't have done that.
and let's see if it knows the direction.
I'm sitting on a log.
He's just having roasting some marshmallow.
So about 20 seconds pass, and you guys continue arguing,
Yeah.
and then you hear this coming towards you, and you also hear a through
Okay,
the trees,
that's not good.
and then Coral jumps down and like bounces off your head and kind of
Okay.
like rolls and goes like between your legs behind a tree and jumps back out of it looking around, and then just goes invisible right as
Okay, I was gonna say.
this
Yeah.
creature
Right.
bursts through the trees. Like, oh, what are you doing here? Who are you? Who are you?
Look, you sound big.
Yes. So this creature is a massive troll. Very big belly, very much from like The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings movies, The Hobbit, like that kind of troll. Very just kind of tattered like loincloth situation going on. He's got a club kind of slung back through, just like a tied piece of like rope across there, and he's got this like backpack is a great way to put it, but it's really more of just like a coin purse that is big enough for of a troll.
For a troll back.
This guy is he's ugly. He's got kind of drooping big teeth kind of coming out and sitting all different ways. Very like gray, like kind of a light gray skin. His eyes are kind of bugging out of his head slightly. His nose, big old bulbous kind of pockmarked thing. Who are you?
Oh, sorry, sir. We didn't mean to trespass on your area, if this is your area. We were just looking for a friend that we lost in the woods.
Why are you here? Why here?
We're looking for the friend I'm walking. I think it's west. I'm not good with the directions because I think it's back that way.
Honestly,
And
I think we're lost.
We're looking for a dragonborn, and you seem to be very well versed in these woods. Could you possibly help us, kind sir?
Dragon? Oh, no dragon, no friend here.
Oh, well, are you a friend?
Huh?
Are you
Look, listen, we'll be on our way. We were just passing through. I didn't mean to startle you. We were looking for a friend, like I said. So we will be.
Startle him, please.
We'll be on our way. I kind of just sidestep him and just start walking. Come on, Maze, let's go.
Are you sure that's the right way?
Yes. I don't even know which direction we're heading right now. We're just walking away.
Mace listen, well, I guess I'll follow him because if that's the right way. You have a good day. And she does this bow, and then as she's bowing, she just kind of walks backwards.
Where you go?
You know, that's a very good question.
We don't know. Do you know a way out of the forest?
And he's like, is he
He just
pointing the
points.
opposite direction from us?
He points north. He points north. Directly north.
Oh, we are both wrong.
Very close.
Ah,
Thank you,
my
kind sir.
Goodness. You know, I gotta get you something to truly thank you for your help.
Do you like shiny things?
Ooh, shiny.
He likes shiny things. Our guide here likes shiny things.
I have a mirror. Really nice, shiny mirror.
You showing him a mirror?
Huh?
Are you showing him a
Yeah.
mirror?
I mean, you can look at that handsome face. I mean, come on.
And he reaches his hand out, and his
It's just a
finger is like the size of your hand,
Yes.
basically. And he just.
I know, look at that.
And he turns around and he sees you behind him in it.
I know, I'm not pretty. I know, I'm sorry. Can I show you something really fun that I like to do as a kid with that mirror? And then I'm going to take it, and I'm going to want to angle it to start a fire on, like, you know, the little, like, ground, like, just
Might be too.
Make a survival roll for that.
survive.
On disadvantage.
Oh, I'm gonna do
Oh, disadvantage!
Oh, it's a 20!
it. 20 and first time in the
It
game.
was like as it was rolling that I realized it's really dark here.
Disadvantage.
Okay, well, 13 was survival.
So
17?
you're 17? Hey, wow, that was actually pretty good.
Big light.
So what you do at first is you kind of try to catch the light, and you
Yeah.
actually like shine his face. And he's like,
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's not
and he
it.
falls over and like takes down a tree with him.
It's been a while since I got this, and you will really like it.
He's like obviously seeing stars, kind of looking around like.
And then, you know, I'm just trying to get that fire just to start.
And you
so
they
can
start
see
smoking some like things.
it. It's like, look, Steve.
And he just grabs the thing you started lighting up, like a
Yeah.
little tinder. He just grabs it. It's like breaks it and messes it all up. It doesn't.
But
It doesn't actually
I
light.
hand the mirror back to him. I'm like, if you do that long enough, it's so much easier to start a fire with it.
Takes it.
Yeah, I do that too. You gotta be careful with that.
And he like sticks it on top of it.
Let's go north.
And he's just kind of transfixed by attempting
Right.
to do
Yeah,
this.
We
just
are
kinda
going
stealthily
out.
Sneak away.
Roll stealth rolls.
So bonus, please.
17 for me.
16 for me.
Okay.
With advantage because Coral's invisible.
So, Coral, you have no idea where she is.
Oh,
She
we never
just
did. She's gone.
Right.
vanished.
Yeah.
And
Coral's dead.
The fight or flight was definitely fight.
however, I rolled a natural 20 for him to
Disadvantage
see
said
where
he
you were
blinded
going.
himself? And I blinded him?
That's impossible.
No, didn't you really?
Come look at somebody. Stand up and look at this. I don't know. I'll take a picture of it or something.
Another 20.
Oh,
100% is another 20.
Yeah, that's it. That's, man.
how fast can you run?
That's a 20.
How fast can you run?
I don't think I've actually ever back-to-back
Well,
natural
like I
20s.
said, we were just gonna leave him to do if he notices. He just like. we're
So
like,
you guys start to kind of like inch away, real quiet, not making a sound, like real silent, and he just kind of like all of a sudden goes,
Oh,
"Where you going?"
Oh, well, I thought you wanted us to leave your woods.
we're going north, like who asked you?
And you're definitely headed west still. You are out of here. You leave me now.
Yeah, if that's alright. May I ask, and I never do this, what is your name? My name is Mace.
Mein Gorma.
Gorma? such a strong name.
He
And
flexes.
she does this little clap, like, oh. Yeah, she's
Just,
like,
keeps
just
doing
like,
it, like,
laying it up. Oh.
You hear behind you,
Strong, man.
Coral just laughing.
Gorma, if I may ask, we're going to try to get this friend of ours and get him out of your forest. If I know we'll pass through here, do you live around here so I may visit you and may bring you more shiny things along our adventures?
Right there. And he points back to kind of where he came from, and you see the trees are all now just like down this path where he had ran through.
Oh, yeah.
And you see there's actually a fire already going.
Okay.
You see it's out there, and there's like this really kind of ramshackle, thrown together out of just fallen trees, kind of like hut type thing that's just more of a lean-to than anything, but big enough for this like 9-foot troll to kind of get into and like sleep in and stuff. And it's fairly deep, almost like a cave.
Okay.
But you can tell it's made out of like
It's a structure.
bits of like fallen stuff and undergrowth and such that's just been kind of piled up on there to function. Probably a good thing to do so I can remember it too.
Gorma, do you live by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, well, hopefully I get to come back and visit you if that's alright. You are my favorite strong troll.
Thank you.
I like this guy. Sorry, I'm putting in notes out of the character.
Do you have anything for him, Elanduar?
What's that?
Do you have anything for him?
I do not.
You're still just kind of
I'm
like
just. I am behind
still
Maze,
backing away a little bit.
letting her do her showmanship.
Oh, it's not showmanship.
Like, well, that's from his perspective. You're just playing him up, and I'm just backing off.
You're gonna leave or stay?
He's shy. We're gonna leave, unfortunately, because we gotta rescue. And you may have noticed dragons and everything.
Dragons?
You didn't see them? Oh, there was a big battle. We were in them. We're just trying to keep battles from fighting you.
Where battle?
Oh,
He pulls out
yes,
his club
you
and
were
is
ready
like,
for battle.
Where the battle?
Well, I don't know where you're at, but will you be able to help us when we need you, Gorman?
Sure.
Yes.
Very well. We will call on you when it is time.
No,
He
not
probably
now.
won't
Not-
call on you, but
Not
I will,
now.
no.
Not now.
Boring.
Can you, Gorman, can you read? Read, okay. So
Nice.
what I will do, I pull out a parchment and I draw a picture of a big club, little like zigzag things. When I need you to battle, I will draw this exact picture and I will send it to you here at your cave.
Sitting here?
Yeah. I will give you a letter, and she gives it to you. When you see that, we will be ready for battle. That's pretty much the size of it.
Okay.
Eat it.
like sticks it back into his little belt thing, kind of folds it over it.
Yes.
Just so happen to have that laying there.
When you see that, I, Mace, will need your help. I will need your muscles.
Where?
Probably here.
Ready?
Yeah, probably right here.
Okay. Okay.
And she walks away and she does a little blow kisses to him.
Mates,
off.
mates, we've got to go. Let's go.
And he heads back to his little
Bye,
space.
I know, bye.
Bye. See you later.
See you later. I like that guy.
And you guys continue on.
I'm like, Coral, you okay?
She jumps down. I'm fine.
Good.
It's funny. I like
For
him.
a second, I didn't think you were okay.
I'm always fine.
Sorry, little fun.
And you guys continue on.
We
To the west.
Right?
We're going that
We're
way.
going west.
Yeah, you guys are still going west. As all of this is transpiring, Kael.
Hi.
What? Kale's here?
Yeah. What the you
Wake up.
are seated comfortably with a bottle of mead, and you're in a big, heavy brown chair in front of a nicely going fire, dark stone, heavy mantelpiece, sitting directly across from CERN, the deer skull-headed humanoid individual that had come to you and brought you to this space after a brief discussion. He had previously, I believe, asked if you had anything you were wanting to know from him going forward. And that was kind of where we cut off your guys' conversation, saying that he had mentioned you guys needed to discuss things, and that he, now that the kind of threat was subsided, that he could answer your questions better.
Well, I think first of all is how did you learn how to change shape?
Well, I don't change shape. I transmute the armor that I wear. I transfer between this, the robe that he's currently wearing, just kind of a long, dark green robe that you had initially seen him in, to my kind of battle armor. And it just, and like leaves and stuff, and kind of this burst of like greenish energy just is this kind of plate armor that's very natural looking, and he just kind of like did it, and then this is the only exchange I make, and he came back to his regular clothing now.
Okay. I guess the second question is that a hat you're wearing, or is that your head?
He smiles, and you see he smiles. It's a deer skull, just the teeth out here, and they go from just kind of this plain look to a smile. The actual bone itself seems to flex upwards and to make that shape. This is my face. Yes, I've been this way my entire life.
Okay, your entire life. Then are you like a spirit of the woods, or what are you?
Some would say, yes, I'm more of a guardian. Our race is mostly gone, I believe, this time. There used to be more like me, visually, though the specific appearance that I bear is different. I am unaging, unchanging. I've been like this for a century, it seems. It might be actually correct. As long as I can remember.
Remember the last time the dragons were here?
I do indeed. I've been serving Tyrael's will here for quite some time. In her absence and in her presence prior.
You mentioned something about being able to control my fate.
Yes.
What did you mean?
Well, Kael, as I mentioned, I know the thoughts of many that walk beneath the boughs of the shifting forest. I know your struggle. I know it better than you might think. I have always been of the wood, a wood god, if you will, and I was called to the service of another of the green dragons. Natural and powerful, but not all powerful they were. Tyrael's son. He was one of the first to fall, and sought to return into my form, the form of her champion. I realized, as you did, that this would be the end of myself and my own life. And it confused me, as Tyrael is life. Her being is that of this. As you saw in the forest, when she lands in a dead and barren space, it grows with life. So it confused and angered me. I did not want that. As his spirit attempted to enter, I refused it for a very long time, and eventually overcame it. some of the abilities that I have come from that victory. But my blood was not the kind of blood that could take on that form. So this, and he does transform his hands a little bit, and they don't, like, they're hands like human hands. They're not like deer paws or anything, deer hooves or anything like that. And his legs are human as well looking. But he transforms his hands to kind of more of like this werewolf type look, but it's these talon claws that kind of extend out, and the hand grows slightly to a larger size. This was all that I, when he lets it go, retain from that draconic spirit. I believe he went and found another, but I somewhat regret the banishing of him. It is a very trying thing. I also think it's why I have yet to die.
Not so sure I'm interested in mortality, but I'm also not interested in being in the back seat of my own body.
I think that there is compromise between the two of you. A dragon spirit is malleable. That's why they take these various forms. They join with humanoid and bestial forms in various ways that still retain the creature they join with. It seems baffling to me that you must disappear for this to happen. It doesn't make sense in that regard. My thoughts on this are, while one may seek to have control over you, you are still in control. Whatever happens with you, you can decide if you make an effort to compromise. You can decide if you fight it and win. And you can decide if you give in and watch life happen before you. That choice is up to you, Kael. I firmly believe that your values and Koro's values align. You are a bastion against evil. That is your duty. That is your calling as a blade. Koro is the opposing force against Guthag. In the old war, prior to the disappearance, it was Koro that slayed Guthag. After a back and forth of each dealing excessive blows to the other and having to retreat, eventually it came to a great battle. And in that battle, Koro was the one to slay Guthag, banish his soul from this land. In doing so, the banishment that he brought to the world diminished the others, causing them to weaken, lose some of their powers, and eventually was the ruin of all of them, pushing them into being but a memory of who they once were. And now, he smiled again, kind of just glancing about and looking at the space. And now they return. Guthag first, as he is the strongest. Tyrael took a while, much longer than I expected. With her return, I believe the tides are beginning to go in our way.
Yep. I reckon I'll have to have some conversations with my god.
The forge you head for. It's where his spirit will be the strongest. It's deep within the mountains, near the Lake of Dreams,
Was that at?
directly north. If you head towards Dwevelhelm as you intended, then make your way northward from there, past the center of the mountain range, you should be able to find it, based on the dreams you've had. Look for what you know, and you'll find it.
I'll do that. Thank you. Do you mind if I take this with me?
I think you should. You may need it more as your journey continues.
One way to have a conversation with a god.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Now, how do I get out of here? I'm sure my comrades are probably looking for me. It's not an unusual occurrence that I disappear on them.
No, it's not lately. And he kind of gestures towards the flames, and they flare up a little bit, but then kind of diminish back down. That green light that you're familiar with now. And you see kind of this kind of shifting image of like a bird's eye view. And you do notice that, in fact, it is a bird's eye view. Both of you two make a perception check.
19.
23.
A red-tailed hawk soars down and lands on a branch beside you two. Just kind of, well, not beside, but above. And is looking down, and both of you notice it's landing and it kind of peering at you. Coral looks up, grabs for an arrow, but then stops. Just kind of mesmerized. This bird that's larger than she is even. This is a massive hawk. And it kind of looks at each of you, and your vision is seeing through the eyes of this. Looks at Maze, Kael, or Elanduar, and Coral. And then shoots up towards the sky. It flies off.
Mace just says out loud, "I'm not talking to any more birds."
And you hear it through the fire, and the wings flap, and the flames kind of diminish out, and you no longer see it. What of your companions, Kael? What are your thoughts now, after everything that's gone down, everything that you've seen and experienced with them, the good and the bad? There's a balance between it, it seems, but where are you at with this?
I've been on the path with Elanduar only one night, one day. Not so sure that I would put any sort of judgment on him, but he seems right enough. Coral, she's my little shadow.
And he smiles at me even before you say it.
Nice. I don't think she's evil. I don't think she's even bad. But I don't think that she's had a chance to really experience the world before now. And right now I think that there's a couple of ways that she could go. She could either go down a dark path or a light path. And me, well, central tenet of the oath I took, be the light.
As I said, you are a bastion of light. You are trained in leadership and arms. It may be your duty to lead her to that light. Don't give up on her. She still has potential.
I never did.
Good.
Not once.
Be wary of the change that she takes on soon. It will be frightening, but it is not evil. The appearance of evil does not mean it is evil. A dark, or fearsome appearance can be beneficial when used for good. The control of that lies within the one's heart that becomes such a creature. Guide her to the light, Kael. You are meant to be a leader. Take up that duty and lead.
I will.
And this may help you in that. And he reaches kind of into like this little side pocket thing on his robe and pulls out this ring that is it's not the same as Halfgren's ring, but it's similar in appearance, as it has a dark wood, kind of gnarled type of wood around it. Not the vines that he had, but more of a thicker, gnarled wood. And it's a small ring when he pulls it out. Something that wouldn't even fit around one of your claws. And he pulls it out, and it has a beautiful blue-green stone in the center of it that, as you kind of glance into it, has these little speckles of gold through it as well. He reaches it towards you. Are you going to take it?
One more thing before we depart. And I pull out the sword.
Which one?
The broken one. What do you make of this?
I believe that is why you need this. And he tosses it to you when you put your hand out, and as it flies through the air, you go to catch it, and it's like you went like this, and it just expands and goes over your finger, and then fits your finger perfectly.
Am I invisible now?
You see, like his kind of brow kind of gives you that like, I knew that was going to happen kind of look, and he says, "This blade holds a dark energy. Be careful of it. There's nothing I can do for it, but whatever weapon you desire, you can have. Hand me a knife."
Luckily, no. I do have
He
one.
grabs it. "Now hand me another."
He's checking inventory.
You have one.
Yeah.
You have one that you know of.
Yeah. I do.
You have a second one?
He does have a
What?
You
second
actually do have two knives?
No, just
Okay.
the one dagger.
So you have the one
one.
dagger.
Just the one,
So he
yeah.
takes that. He sets it down on the table. Now hand me another.
What about the one I just gave you?
Hand me another.
No, a knife? Or what about the
Another
great
knife.
sword? The broken one?
One more knife.
I don't have one.
And while you kind of like look around yourself, like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I don't have one.
That's like an investigation
You like
check.
go like this,
Yeah.
and the hand that has the ring on it, a knife appears in.
Oh.
A knife that matches the ring in some capacity.
Yeah.
It's a bright silver blade, but the back of the pommel has that same jewel in it. The handle of it is a kind of gnarled wood look to it. And there's like kind of swirled, kind of runic, natural type carvings all through the back end of the blade that kind of curves around.
Yeah.
And you're just like, ooh. You don't need to carry anything anymore.
Anything?
Any weapon you have access to
And
now.
I'm just like, I try to stick my warhammer into it, into the ring.
You try to stick it in, and it just kind of like
Put it in
tink,
there.
and you pull your hand back and like clench your fist together, and a warhammer appears out of it.
Oh. Well, but I like that here.
I don't need to keep it.
Well, can I have my
And
dagger
he
back?
grabs the dagger and he kind of just like tosses it like back in towards you.
Yeah.
And being your
Yeah.
skill, you just put it back. Now this, and he kind of makes the great sword that you previously carried kind of float up, and you can see now that in each of these cracks there is a little bit of blackness to it. This has gained some strength along with a significant amount of weakness.
It's broken.
Be careful with it.
Just wrap it up.
Okay.
Just put it away.
Perfect. Yep.
Just back
Yep.
here. Thank you. And then finally, not all made.
Yes. And he kind of reaches back and
Bring up me.
No, does
And-
the ring not do it?
yeah,
Do it.
no. And he grabs like a let's see what he grabs. I'll determine the size of what he grabs with a D4. Perfect. He reaches back and grabs a small cask of it. And it's about, yay big or so. Not a big, massive thing,
Yeah.
but 3 to 4 bottles worth, basically, like wine bottle size
Yeah,
bottles.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
cask.
little like shoulder cask.
Mhm.
And he kind of floats that over to you. And you see it actually has like straps on it so that you could actually wear it as like a belt, like a fanny pack kind of thing, to where it kind of goes around. It kind of just sits at the back of your hips.
I'm gonna make this thing into a camelback.
Nice. Nice.
Not really.
That's Saint Bernard.
yeah, just Saint Bernard.
Yeah.
It's on the back though. That's it's supposed to be.
And he kind of just smiles again at this. Well, Kael Strats, it seems you're leaving these woods for some time now. Where would you like to go?
I'd like to be with my companions.
Could arrange for that. And he kind of starts just spinning his hands in front of himself and like making these kind of arcane type gestures. And then the room starts to kind of spin. And then as the room spins, it lights in that green flame. When you hear this inferno of fire, and you two, directly where you are, these flames come about all around you, circling you guys, and just spinning and coming closer and closer to you.
Oh, you gotta be careful with that mirror.
What? What is going on?
And Coral is like,
There's another dragon. There's another
she
dragon.
thinks for a second, she sees your face in the fire, and she's like,
Wait,
and then it just goes
or fire?
and it hits both of you, all three of you, I guess. And as it does this, you feel as if you're lifted off the ground and almost like you're flying, and you're just, and then you're standing at the end of the forest, looking northward towards the mountains. You are standing wide-eyed, staring forward. Coral is grabbed onto like both of your legs, like yours and yours, like holding the two of you together, like. And she looks up and sees Kael standing in front of her with CERN.
I was hoping I'd be behind him.
Barnum is right there.
Because I just like
Yeah,
materialize a
she's
bow
behind
and then
us,
just like
like,
shoot a green arrow just like over the top of him.
That would have been gold. My bad. But
fine.
and then CERN is standing beside him, kind of leaning on this gnarled staff with a large green stone in it, smiling, laughing a little at Coral. I have done what I can to aid in your journey. This edge of this forest is where my domain ends. Head northward. Each of you may find what you are looking for.
What are you looking for?
Adventure.
Well,
You'll have that in spades.
like sort of sleight of hand. And it's a great sword. You found it.
Yeah, he just
Ooh,
like, doesn't do
that's
anything. He just like
nice.
reaches back like he's grabbing his normal sword, but instead of the sword you saw him using or the silver one you gave him, this other sword kind of just rips out of the air behind him. You guys are both in front of him, so you don't really see that. It looks like he just draws a third sword out of the same sheath, and it has this beautiful, large, like kind of gnarled but still light reflective and almost glowing like. Stone in it. Wow, that's helpful. You literally know that this is going on right now, and it's kind of like glowing from the behind it. It's like this blue, green, and gold mixed together with a gnarled wood handle that kind of comes out across as a greatsword's crossguard with the large, similar stones but smaller coming out of each end of it, and then that kind of stone goes down for maybe a foot of the greatsword into the blade, and you can actually almost like kind of see through it. And the blade itself is just massive and very well crafted, and he just holds it in front of him, and that's where we're going to go to break. So I will get the giveaway stuff pulled up here for the code word for tonight's giveaway, which is the Reckless Deck Worlds deck. Give me just a moment here while I get it logged in and pulled up. I should probably do this before we start streaming next time. Maybe I'll keep that in mind. And yeah, so you guys will have a chance. Just hang out for a split second here to win that. As always, subscribers get triple luck, so if you have not used that free Twitch Prime subscription yet, which you get if you have an Amazon Prime account, if you don't know anything about that, go to twitch.tv/prime and you can find out all about it. You get 3 times extra entries into all of our giveaways. You actually get 10 times extra entries into the big Reckless Deck giveaway with being a subscriber, which you can do for free through Amazon Prime. Tonight's keyword specifically will be... The weirdest word just came to my mind. It was the butter came to my mind, but
Butter. Mirror.
I'm gonna say mirror. Yeah,
The
I like
maze
mirror a lot. So as of right now, that is open to anybody who has not already won a Worlds deck from us. You guys can enter by typing in the code word mirror. No exclamation points or crazy like special capitalization, anything like that. Just mirror in the chat, and you'll be entered in to win that. So we'll be back in roughly 10 minutes or so, and we'll see you guys then. And we're back, I believe. Yes. Audio? Yes. Your guys' audio, however, didn't come back. It just now it's back though.
Okay.
It just showed us still like muted for some reason.
Not playing.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, first and foremost here, jumping back in the Reckless Deck Worlds deck giveaway for tonight. We have everybody entered, I believe. So if you haven't entered yet and you want a chance to win that, type mirror in the chat. The Reckless Deck Worlds deck is a phenomenal world-building random generation card set. As a quick reference here, I don't know if I can use this one because I might be using this one, but I'm not going to use this one because I really might be using that. But the... Yeah, I've got one for you guys. Off of my deck, just randomly drawing stuff. If I were to pull out, let's say, this card, and this card, and then just randomly, let's say, this card. That's 3 cards just randomly pulled out of this deck. And I have this weird thing about making sure everything faces the same way. So there we go, fixed it. This would be 3. This is a quick example of what this is. So one card is rock. That's what it says on it. Another card says dawn. And another one is prehistoric or tribal. So a way that I would introduce something like that.
It's the intro to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, basically. So as the sun rises over the hills, you notice that there seems to be mixed in with the rocks and kind of rubble of this structure that once stood here. There's a spine of some sort kind of embedded into it. And as you get closer, you can tell it's the remains of some beast. And as you look around, you see these small, like little hide huts built into the structure. And there you go. Boom. Roll with that. Exactly. Like, that's the kind of thing that, like, this can do. Like, I literally just drew 3 cards right here from a Reckless Deck Worlds deck and set a scene. And now we could run with that if that was part of our story. Would have been super easy. So that's what's really great about Reckless Deck. That's why you want one. I am going to be doing a more in-depth video about Reckless Deck and actually utilizing it. We have a video on our YouTube channel showcasing the giveaway that we're doing and showing you what's in the complete set box. But I am going to do another video, or maybe even like a couple of videos, one for characters, one for worlds, something like that maybe, in regards to how I would personally use this deck in like world building, character creation for our world. It's a really, really cool set. It's got really cool art on it. It just really fits my style, and they're a great company as well. So definitely be sure to support them. If you don't win tonight, by heading to recklessdeck.com, anything that you purchase there, you can get 15% off by using the code RoleThis1, which is the number 1, all is one thing, in the checkout. It's like a little code that you guys put in. So definitely do that if you're interested in getting one. And if you are not, TX Gabe, because TX Gabe, you have won one of your own. So congratulations. We will be getting that out to you shortly. It will be shipped to you from Reckless Deck. So you should get that, I believe, within the week, but don't hold me to that. I don't know what their shipping times exactly are. So we'll see what goes on there. But I'll definitely keep you posted on how like the tracking and stuff is going for that. And I'll be contacting you later to get your mailing address and everything for it as well. So expect a message from me either in Discord or on Twitch here later on this evening after the show's over. So no, the caps do not matter, map, just so you're aware for future ones. And we are going to dive back in here after I just plain close this. Yeah, I can remember Gabe's name. Plain clothes it.
Plain clothes. Not fancy clothes.
Just the plain one.
Right.
Plain clothes.
So where we were right before we went to break, Kael and Cern had reappeared, grabbed inside of Cern's magical teleportation flames the other members of the party, bamped them right out of the woods, definitely causing a pretty big scene, if that wasn't made quite apparent. And then cannonball and what's the other thing? Comet, like cometing them down into the earth, and they are now standing all together again at the edge of the forest, the north edge, towards Dwevelhelm, feeling a little nauseous.
That's a new sword.
Sort of. Here, you want it?
Yeah. Now grab it. And
As you go to grab it, it stays there for a moment, but then as you fully pull it away, it just vanishes in like this blue-green gold kind of energy that shows like these leaves and stuff that just kind of fizzles out.
Here, sorry.
Was that a trick?
Have a dagger.
Same beautiful type of structure, same exact effect. As soon as you fully leaves his grip, like until like it's like this. Like if you have something kind of in your hand, and then you open your hand, and it's here. It's still not in your hand, but it still kind of is in your hand. But as soon as you leave the full grasp, it's gone.
What are you doing? How did you do that?
I don't know. Here, have a bow.
Oh, I like bows.
And the bow is just stunning. Like you look at this bow and the curvature of it, the way that the string itself actually kind of just glistens with this magical energy. It's like the string itself is made of that energy, made of that stone's appearance, and it's set into the handle, and the gnarled dark wood comes up around it and curves to kind of this edged point, and you just like, it's the most beautiful bow you've ever seen in your entire life. The moment it leaves Kael's hands, it's gone.
I shed a tear.
And you see Elanduar just sheds a single tear down his face that for a brief moment sparkles the same reflection as the stones.
It's
And
okay.
then turns clear.
That bow never really existed.
I wish it did.
How far is CERN from us? Is he a good distance, or?
You guys are like all like you
just
guys,
on a-
you three and those two, Kael and Cern, are like 10 feet facing each other, like a little circle.
Oh, okay. Where they're walking. Well, Maze would kind of like walk away, just like quietly walk up to CERN, like while he's doing the whole weapon
Yeah.
thing.
And he's
so
just
no
kind
one
of
notices.
resting up against his staff, which is tall. It's kind of behind his antlers, and just kind of leans up against it, watches you approach.
Yeah, Maze walks up. I recognize you from the horrible night in the woods.
Yes.
I want to apologize for all that happened because I have had time to reflect, and none of that is what I intended.
You do not know any better. You have unfortunately been used and manipulated for the majority of your life, which is a very difficult thing to deal with. But you have a new opportunity before you now. A new chapter in your life. A new season is dawning for you. What you do with this is entirely up to you.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
The little ones make it out?
Every single one of them, except for the one that I was a little too slow in getting to.
As,
And you see just like utter rage
yeah.
flashes across his face and then just vanishes.
Just a brief moment.
And it's not directed at you, it's directed
No, she
at the
understands.
situation. And he's just like,
kind of looking down.
and you see his eyes actually flare up with some of that green fire as well. Like, not his green eyes look like fire, literal fire is in the sockets of where his eyes would be.
I hope to do right by them, for this is a learning experience. And I thank you for your patience. And then she'll walk back. She's trying to do that just kind of out of their sight, like, still doesn't know what to say to Kael.
Before you actually get out of earshot to where everybody else would really hear it, he says, redeem yourself with the good you do in the future. It'll more than make up for what you've done in the past.
And she will remember. Maze will remember that.
And both of you make perception checks.
Just to see if he has
We're distracted.
You're rather
Yeah,
distracted.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, 7.
15.
Oh, that's right. You have like crazy.
You were, for the briefest second, you thought you saw a light over by where CERN and Maze were, like a green flash of some kind. You have no idea. Your back's to them.
Yeah.
Literally no idea.
We are
what
seriously
happened.
playing with all the
And you were
toys.
just like, oh, must have been the stone in his staff or something. And you go back to like
So
playing with all the
shiny,
different
like,
weapons.
Yeah. He saw it, didn't make anything.
Produces
out
a
of it.
nuclear bomb. No, I'm kidding. Don't. It's melee and fantasy based weapons in essence, is what you're able to produce with that of any kind that you are proficient with, which is being martial weapons is all
I know
of
what
them.
that's like.
So any axes, swords, any of that type of stuff, and the actual statistics of those weapons, I'll be adding soon.
Are playing cards technically weapons?
Having an
You
M5.
could. So
Excellent.
you could do so. They would be very flashy.
Conspicuous.
Yeah, they would stand out a lot.
No cheating that cards.
They, in essence, what they would do, since it's someone's weaponry, is they would be, and you actually do this, like messing with each other. You're like trying to do that, and you summon a set of cards in your hand, and they are basically entirely made out of that shining magical energy that's the color of that stone, and the edges of it are like these razor-edged kind of points
Almost like
all along
throwing.
the corners, so they're like throwing things. And you're like, you kind of do, you sling one, and you were like looking at one tree and kind of just slung it, and it went and just slammed right into that tree. And you hear kind of CERN kind of and he looks at you and it just kind of out of the tree, and then the tree actually heals itself right up.
Taking it for a spin.
Whoopsie.
And he kind of laughs.
Just, taking
It won't
for a
hurt the
spin.
trees.
I'm just thinking like, well,
So, okay, because Maze was about
I could
to
use
grab
this,
some leaves
actually.
and be like,
not just
For the
at like
tree.
playing cards, but like other things.
Mhm.
So.
Yep.
Do the bow again. Do the bow again. Oh, please do the bow again.
No.
Ah, Jesus.
Alright. So thank
Coral
you for
pulls her
relaying
bow out.
That's fun.
And she makes a little noise with the string
as
of
Maze
it.
wants to really take, she's good with that thing. She shot a guy through both eyes somehow.
What?
Yeah, she saved me with that bow. Again, Maze doesn't know it was him.
But no, I shot it.
No, Coral did.
No, I was there. I shot. Now I only shot it once.
Coral, you shot him, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I
Once.
believe, right? Oh, once? Oh.
Oh, no, that was my target.
Not the, she aimed it first?
No,
Coral
Nice.
kind of points at him.
that was me.
Fine.
I saw him.
Okay.
It
I
was-
didn't. You
He helped. He helped. I'd have had him though.
Well, thank you both.
You're welcome.
Well, you three, I think it's time for us to be going north.
Yes, and I point
This way,
west.
I point west.
I'll point east.
We're just over here like.
And it's like
definitely
literally
north.
so deeply obvious because you are in
We're
a
right in front of
clearing. Like, this is a prairie or a tundra
I
type
purposely,
area
I
Yeah.
of
purposely
just
point east.
tall, like golden grasses between black trees and mountains. And you're like,
Yeah.
we need to go to the mountains
Yes.
that are the
There.
ocean and the other trees.
Yeah. And I just go.
We are just having fun with you.
And Coral like
my head.
kind of scampers
Sure.
and
Turn around.
bounces up and just kind of swings off the cask and swings up onto your shoulder and sits there and goes, "You see what I've been dealing with? Glad you're back."
Me
He's
too.
kinda-
Me too, Cole.
Where did you go?
I had a chat with Sam.
And as you guys look back, he's just kind of vanishing into the shadows of the trees. Just the last thing you see is the
That
visage
skull.
of his skull kind of shining out of the trees. And just vanishes into darkness.
He's a pretty cool looking guy.
That used to creep me out, but now I feel comfortable from it.
He's a comforting being. Let's go there. We don't have any time to waste.
To the mountains then.
Perfect. So you guys head on. For time's sake, we're not going to have you do like a break in the middle of it or anything like that.
We get there.
You guys actually, it's fairly early in the day still. When you had done all of this, I mean, you were in the Feywild, so you were there for however long you were there. However, you were really only there for a couple seconds in real time.
Yeah.
So it was still basically morning by the time you guys got out of the forest.
Kael, do you have any more muffins? You had the muffins when you disappeared.
I do. I have nothing for you. Do you want nothing?
If you offer, you know.
Okay. What do we say?
Muffin, please.
There you go.
Thank you.
Coral.
You look up and she already has one.
You're welcome.
Just devouring another one. The one single one that she got. And she actually still has a little bit in her pouch too, but she's got a brand new one out of your bag as soon as you arrived.
Yep. She swung up and like nabbed the muffin.
Bingo.
So while we're walking, Maze will inform Kael of
Our ally in the woods.
I have his name written down, sorry. I don't know. About the troll,
It was very garbled.
Goramon.
Yes.
Korma?
Yeah,
think it
how
was.
I made a friend.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's what he sounded like, yes. I feel like I still hear him.
Oh, balls. I haven't eaten today. Sorry. Not even related to the stream. I made a thing. I made a chicken pot pie and I left it in the microwave and didn't eat it before the show started. I just remembered that after the burp.
You find it the next day. Like,
Real D&D. That's amazing.
Pot pie's just a giant
Yeah.
muffin with meat.
Exactly. See, it's a meat pie.
Yeah, meat pie.
So it perfectly fits with the scenario. But anyways, yes, so
Sorry,
you go
yeah.
ahead and inform
I
him.
inform him of the troll, Goramon, that we
Gorma.
managed to make I made a friend.
Well, that's good.
It's weird having a friend. It's different.
but you've never had a friend before?
Really not.
Apparently she thought she did.
Yeah.
It's okay though.
Yeah.
But this troll was, forgive the phrase, simple-minded, that I truly felt that he was true. He would be a friend.
What did you give him?
A shiny man.
Can I roll like a knowledge of whatever would be related to trolls.
Yeah, would you know?
What do you want to know?
Yeah.
Are trolls generally like
In the area?
like honor, like if you give
Oh,
them
yeah, 'cause
something,
I
they're
just- I
like
mean,
they're like
right.
favor for favor, gift for gift sort of thing.
It's true because he asked what you give him, and I said I made a friend.
Do you?
Like, do they even have a concept of that?
It's a really tough
Barter?
one, actually.
Barter?
Go ahead and make a history roll. I think would be the best because it would be related to kind of like the things you studied about monsters as you were training.
Yeah, 16.
16. In a general sense, if you can, if you find a non-hostile troll
Yeah.
and you can find a way to make them happy,
Mm-hmm.
they are very likely to be very loyal to you in the future. If they ever see you again.
Yeah. Like, do they have a sense of reciprocity for gifts? And
Not in a sense like that. Not of like, oh, I got this shiny thing. Here's a shiny thing for you. It's more in the sense of like,
I mean, that's what reciprocity.
oh, you were friendly to me. I will kill anything that comes against you.
Okay.
Because that's kind of the troll mentality. Is
Yeah.
that I'm big, I can beat stuff up
Big,
and hurt
I'm
things
bash.
that try to hurt the people that are nice to me. So that's kind of where he's at, and where most trolls that are of the more friendly variety would be. There are other trolls that it's like their sole goal is to use that size and power to
Is that-
take from other people.
Mhm.
And they all want shiny things. They all want interesting things. They all want baubles of some sort.
Yeah.
A small portion of them are just excited to get gifts and don't attack to get them. Another portion of them, the larger portion, tend to just
Take.
attack travelers and merchants and stuff like that and take the
Strong,
things.
Take
Yep,
thing.
exactly. And
Okay.
generally eat the skulls of the people that they take things from.
You know,
Or wear them as jewelry.
if you must.
Yeah. In their
Okay.
opinion.
And make it
So, yeah.
Okay, well,
Jimmy.
that's what I know.
nice.
Oh. Well, seems you've done a good job making sure that you make friends with the troll instead of just trying to kill it.
That's normally what
It
I
was
would
very
want.
large. I didn't fancy it.
Yeah, they're not often easy to befriend, especially so quickly. So,
Oh, he is very nice.
He was easily amused.
just kind of trotting along, I guess, while talking,
Very
chatting.
easy.
Yeah. Walk
Okay.
by.
Yep, you guys are making fairly good time. The edge of the forest is not like a league away from the mountains. It's like you're pretty much there. This is almost, it's much larger than this, but it's almost like just in comparison to sizes of things. It's almost like just a small meadow before you get to the
Yeah,
stuff.
am I starting to
Um,
like recognize peaks that I've flown over, or what
Not
things?
here.
Okay.
I would generally have you roll for that, but I can just straight up tell you you
No.
can roll anything you want. Not
It's
here.
not gonna be-
You don't necessarily
Yeah,
recognize it
you
here.
don't know
You
this place.
recognize the peaks because you've seen them in the distance and all
Yeah.
that, but you don't recognize them in the sense that you're intending to.
Okay.
Um,
I don't have any
and
idea where we're going yet.
yeah,
Let me check the map.
after a few hours of, I don't even think
Way off
the.
your map.
I don't even think the Lake of Dreams is on there.
Well,
you're still on the map actually that he has. Yeah,
Ah, I thought earlier.
yeah, because
Let me
that's
see
I-
that.
basically the same as this map in
Mountains,
general.
mountains.
So you've got
in the north, right?
actually the lake is on there. The Lake of Dreams is that northern lake that's right up there in the mountains. That exists on the map that he has. I don't know if it's named or not, but it is on there, and that is what it is.
Is it by the river, or
It's-
is it this thing over here?
In essence, it's the mouth of the river,
Okay.
Should be up.
so it's where the river actually comes from. But you guys travel on for a couple hours or so. It's getting to be kind of afternoon time, and you, at this point, kind of crest over a hill. This area is just kind of the hill portions leading up to the mountains. And as you crest over a hill, you see before you a quite large view of kind of this farmland space that leads up to the base of the mountains, and you can see the Erin River from here off to your right, where it kind of angles back up. It's a few miles off, but because of your vantage point, you can see it now. And you see a massive set of gates across the river, stone, with watchtowers all along them, and a very thick and angular in structure. You then kind of look back towards the way the road goes, and you see another exactly identical gate kind of looming up to like your eye level now. So as you head forward, you'll just continually be kind of like, oh my god, this is a big gate, and we'll be heading towards the gates to Dwevelhelm. So you're passing through a bunch of little you're passing through a bunch of little farmland areas. You continue on for another 30 minutes or so, and you are now at the base of the gates to Dwevelhelm as a region. Not necessarily the city, which you, Kael, do know from your map studies, that Dwevelhelm city is farther into the mountains beyond Dwevelhelm Gates. Dwevelhelm Gates is a kind of a community of its own, and actually has small dwarven farming settlements kind of around that space. But you do have to get through the gates to actually get to the real like housing section of that. And so you guys approach the gates, and as you get close,
Hail.
you do hear kind of that same thing. Hello there, how are you? Welcome to Dwevelhelm.
Oh, greetings.
You look up to like this little balcony that's just, it's like walls, and they're not ornate, but they are definitely carved in kind of a geometric relief kind of thing, very dwarvish, you know, as you would expect. And the edges, kind of where the towers are, you can now see that they actually have kind of the, I actually can't remember the thing I'm trying to reference, but in essence it's two large dwarves, big beards, crowns on their heads, both holding two what appear to be great swords, and they would be in a dwarf's eyes a great sword, just kind of on each side of the gates there. And the little tiny balcony is the only like real gap in these gates. The rest of it blends fully into the mountain, and you've got this guy up there who's standing there, and then another, and he's kind of the, again, stereotypical dwarf, red beard, red hair, very militaristic style. And then there's another dwarf beside him that is kind of just, he's white-haired, kind of balding on top, white straightened beard, that's kind of like cropped down at his chest. And the one that addressed you originally kind of steps back as he steps out. What brings you to Dwevelhelm?
My companions and I bring tidings from the south.
Okay.
We seek to gain entry.
Perfect. How many are there of you?
4.
And you can see he's like writing down on a little ledger type thing, and like appears to be kind of the ledgerman, and then this is the guard.
Trying to do the math here, but 4.
All right. I see 3. Oh.
She's with me. She's my squire.
Oh, you're a knight, are you? And it's weird that he is 50 feet above you, but it sounds like you guys are having a conversation face to face. And he's like perfectly able to hear you. And
He's probably got some magic thing then.
Probably. Or a trick of the stone. But either way, he's like, a knight, eh? What kind of knight are you? Where do you hail from?
I'm a bright blade from Miracles.
Miracles, my. And he scribbles down kind of fervently in here.
Tidings on from that far south, I can assure you.
Well, come in. This is not took for here. Let him in.
As you say. Boys, let him in.
And you hear this like kind of sound just come from the wall, and the 2 stone dwarves and grab like right where the balcony is basically, and as they do, they kind of just latch in around underneath of it, and each one then and goes back to their space. And as the doors open, you guys realize that the fact that you were a few hundred feet back from there when you were first hailed was good, because otherwise you've been swept aside by these doors as they open outwards towards you. And you realize now, looking at that's why The rest of the stuff is farther back away from the base of the mountains as to not be continually demolished by these giant doors opening. You guys step through and you look up and it's 300 feet tall doors at least. And you're just like awe-inspired by the way that they're just lost into the sky here. You feel like you're walking down a canyon of some kind. And you step in and the ceiling stays this high the whole way.
Dwevelhelm's magic is...
Make a perception roll.
Oh, that's a 2.
Okay, yeah. It was if it was a 20, I was gonna just make something up, but it wasn't. So, so she says that, and then as you guys kind of step in past where it seems the doors kind of come together, there's this other. And the doors are closed behind you. And then coming out of a little hut, basically, that kind of protrudes from the wall there, you have this little dwarven man pops out. Well, now, perfect. So, please come inside with me. And he turns and walks back into the little hut.
Well, I get out the writ of authenticity.
Perfect.
That I am indeed a
Perfect.
blade, just in case. And I follow him in.
Okay. And you guys come into a kind of like office space. It's a little hut that protrudes. But then as you come in, you can tell this is like built out, as a dwarf would, to multitude of office spaces, kind of an entryway. This is basically the Dwevelhelm guest center, in essence. And you sit down across from him at a desk. He kind of pops up onto a chair that seems to kind of rise a little bit to bring himself back up higher over the table. He leans forward, his book kind of still out. Now, what was it that brings you here?
Well, I have tidings from the south that the leaders
Yes, of course, you
Dwevelhelm
said that.
want
What are they?
I'd rather speak directly to the leaders at Dwevelhelm about this.
Well, unfortunately, you can't get to them without coming through me.
Okay.
So,
Well, do you want the long of it or the short of it?
probably the short.
Okay. The gods are back.
Okay,
We witnessed a fight.
I would say a medium level then.
The gods are back. We witnessed a fight, and we killed one of them. One of the evil ones, though.
And why are you really here?
Pull out the
Get
sword,
out the
yeah.
blade that's broken. Get out the blade that Maze gave me.
Do you want us to fix it, or
Actually,
Meld
we could
it?
fix that one, but the silver one, that was owned by one of the gods.
That was
picks it up
stolen.
and looks at it?
Maze just says that was stolen from a fighter I was told that was here.
We don't craft blades like this, no. It's not from someone here, maybe up farther north. Here's an old tale of one. Never thought I'd see this blade. Very odd. He kind of thumbs the edge of it. Indeed. And he looks down at the other one as he's going to set it down. He kind of like pulls his hand back away as he, like, it causes the tip of the one sword to kind of like tink down a little bit and just kind of tap on the desk as he sets it down, trying to avoid touching the other blade. He says, I would like for you to remove that one, please. There's very dark magics on there.
Right, it's the blood of an evil god. This blade is the one that struck it down and killed it.
Well, by any accord, whether you're a troop of fools here to entertain us, or if you are in fact telling us
Fools?
some form of...
Hold this. Read it, please.
Takes it. Close the bright blades that steal is correct.
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
One
sir,
moment, please.
Kael, do you have to carry that to prove you are who you say you are?
Indeed.
Yeah, it does check out. Here you are.
So, you believe that I'm a blade?
I believe that by all accounts, you must be, according to that.
Mm-hmm. And Blade's traditionally known to lie to people when they enter the towns.
No. Here, fine. He grabs a piece of paper off and kind of sets it down and like does some writing on it, which is extremely beautiful. Like, it looks like it's something coming out of a printer or something, you know? It's like the first form of printing where he just writes this exact same thing so much of like admitting access, and he does so, and he grabs this thing and just kind of stamps it. Here you are. Keep that with you at all times while you are here, and you should be fine. It's your passage through to Dwevelhelm. Heading farther into the mountains, of course, will require another conversation with one of my compatriots. But for now, you are welcome to leave if you would like.
Oh, I think we might want to stay for a time. Is it... Well, what time is it? Is it like afternoon? Or?
Afternoon.
Okay.
Here.
Would we be able to, like, make it to the next set of gates in that time? Or is it...
So these are like the only gates, and then everything from here on.
It's
This
still a long
is
way.
this is a kind of like King's Road type of road. So one, you're not going to run into anything here.
No.
Well, actually, there's never mind. I'm not going to say anything about that. But there's the potential you could
DIY.
actually run into
There are
something.
thieves.
But you're more likely to run into something actually inside of Dwevelhelm than on the way, and it's really not that far. You'd get there by nightfall.
Okay. What's the nearest inn that people tend to stay at when they arrive in Dwevelhelm proper?
You know, it'd be wonderful if I had actually pulled my Dwevelhelm notes up for this, which I do have in quite an extensive writing. So, give me just a moment here, and I will
Right, while you do that,
that.
I'm going to answer her question.
We're gonna
Yes.
look for the Garish Garnet. I figured everything would be named after a rock from them.
Garish Garnet, that might have to be the
have to
red
carry
light
this
district.
paper around with me because it's actually one of the more important tools. Or they...
You know, it's sorry, that's new to me.
It's
We've never asked to see your paper to prove that you are who you say you are.
That's because they had to prove it to our first employer.
The drow?
Mm-hmm.
what drow? What?
There was a mysterious drow that first hired us. That's how we met.
Yeah, we still don't know his name though.
This is accurate.
Yeah.
Still don't know his name.
Still don't know.
We've been sidetracked from that whole fact-finding mission.
Oh yeah.
Well, with the return of the gods and the evil
Yes,
shadow
yes, very
coming
much
over the
so.
world, yeah.
Like 3 bars in one damp cave, back, and then you step. Mm-hmm.
And as you guys are talking, he's kind of like
What's the paper to prove that she's explained?
going through this sheet.
No, my word should be good enough.
Oh, okay.
Here we are. So, the stonemasons inn and stables, if you have, well, you don't have any beasts of burden, but if you would like, it's one of the nicer 2 inns. There is also, of course, the Grimstone, if you are
The Grimstone.
a little rougher for wear, but cheaper, by all means.
Yeah, we can go to the nicer ones, I'm sure.
I don't
Yes,
have any
yes.
money.
But I also would
Don't worry
recommend
about
that
Okay.
for a general idea of what's in the city, as this is my duty here to express and explain what you will see within Dwevelhelm. There are the docks, which of course are the docks. The stonemasons inn and stables, as I have
like
explained,
screaming this all down.
is the nicer of our 2 inns that we have up ahead. Grimstone is a bit of a fighting place, if you don't mind that kind of activity. It's been known to get a little raucous in there from time to time. We would not like that at the stonemasons, however, it is generally permitted within Grimstone. The barracks are where the soldiers, of course, stay, and they are named as such for such. Shiplap's Slosh is a bar down by the docks. They are the purveyors of the Shiplap Slosh, and that is a very powerful drink if you would
So
like
how
to
do you
partake.
sorry, how do you spell slip/sauce?
Exactly like you would think that it's
A
spelled.
bunch of S's.
There is also, of course, the Mountain Goats General Store, which
Just
is
speak.
the pride of Dwevelhelm as far as goods and services for your general needs may go. Along with that, we have Saglash's Forge. You may be interested in taking that blade to him, though it is quite problematic. Though he may have some assistance for you. Bellabees is the apothecary. She specializes in a wide variety of potions and elixirs that may aid you in your future travels as you go. Galmon's Gems and Jewelry. That crazy old man. He is currently out and about. However, his shopkeeper is still there, and you may be able to get in if you catch him at the right time.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Galmon, do you know his horse?
Yes. No one around here doesn't know that beast.
Is it the biggest, most fiercest horse you've ever seen?
Well, I've seen quite a lot in my day, but yes, it's terrifying.
And Galmon's not here, is he? He's
No.
in,
Crazy man headed south
I
a few
forget
days
where
ago.
you were from.
Feldar.
Feldar.
Feller.
Feldar, yes.
Hey, we're in Dwevelhelm.
Yes.
Fesselhelm
Well,
is
now I go Dwevelhelm. Finally figured out his name. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then there is, of course, Parthol's Promontory. Local enchanter. He is an interesting fellow that I believe you would have some kinship with, and he is one of the few of that nature in this area. So,
What do you mean that you believe I have kinship with?
well, he's a bloody dragon.
Oh.
A large, fat, red.
Do I know
weird
all the
beast,
orcs? Or
but
do I know
wait,
all the elves in the
An
area?
actual dragon?
There are no
Or-
elves here.
Because you know we're not the same, you know. Dragons and Dragonborn,
Oh, I don't know.
we're not the same.
It's all the same. Lizard people, lizard people.
Dwarves,
But
they're
anyways,
so
um,
simple-minded. Don't
yes.
First of all, how dare you?
Second of all,
thanks for the information, we'll be on our way.
you're welcome. Good day. And he heads back to his, folding out his notes, putting everything away. Kind of, you see that he like adjusts this like little pamphlet like perfectly into its little place, and
I'm just
folds
gonna-
up his book
Dwarves.
after signing it off, and then holds it back under and sits very pretentiously, just looking at you
Yeah.
as you guys walk away.
I'm just over here like, what do you know about being confused for another race?
Yep.
Nothing.
No.
You know, nothing.
You know nothing. Oh god. So yes, you now have a generalized idea of the locations within Dwevelhelm, if you were able to keep up with that obnoxious voice
He
of
was-
that man.
He was,
And
He's
writing
writing
it
it down
down.
on his map.
that's awesome. I love it. Yeah, so that is what information you have ahead of you, and you are now welcome to head forward if you wish.
well, how much
Squirrel
adventure
still
are
has-
you feeling? Yeah, of course.
Of course, you're just
Oh,
sitting
I
right
didn't
there.
know if- I mean, every time we step in a shop, you know, I get a little worried.
How much
comes back
adventure
to
are you
something.
feeling?
Dwarves, really? I don't like dwarves.
Yeah.
You're gonna be surrounded by him.
Yeah, I
Plenty of
know.
wolves in the blades.
You can see how simple-minded they are.
Why do you not like the
Simple-minded, single-minded, or just plain simple.
Yeah,
That's what they are.
that dwarves for you. I mean, I'm not going to try to kill them all, but if it comes to it, I'll be okay.
I was not.
Usually they don't
I was
think.
aided by a dwarf.
Usually they don't think too much about killing you unless you do something to them first.
That-
Not always,
I mean, that's fair.
but mostly. But anyway, we can either bed down, get something to drink, or see if any shops are still open. How much adventure are you feeling tonight?
I would like some tea, and we'll start with the tea.
Tea this.
Coral?
Go where you go.
Yeah, I guess it's 2 for tea, and I could use a drink.
Speaking of,
Yeah.
Where did you say we could go?
we can go to the silver fish.
Silverfish.
I can't speak my own handwriting.
I absolutely love this because based on your character, you probably would have heard it that way and really probably would have written it down that way and remembered it and relayed it. So you're heading to the Silverfish.
Do you remember where he said it was?
It was down the main aisle and then the second left.
He literally never said a direction, but
That's his
that's what he is relaying to you. So, sure. Yeah, sure. You can go that way.
We're going that direction. Alright.
So you're headed down one aisle and then to the left.
Yes. Yes, we
Perfect.
are.
So let's consider one aisle as the main road that enters in
Right.
through the wide
You go
open
one
actual city
square.
gates.
Yeah.
And you head forward through that, and then you said turn left.
Yes.
Okay. So you come to kind of a central road, like kind of almost a T intersection type space of two large roads. You turn left upon that and head out for a couple minutes, and you feel like you're going up. And
Going to ask one of the locals, Sir,
Is there
Yes,
anyone
what can I do? What's up? What are you doing? Huh?
I'm looking for the silverfish.
It's silverfish. And you'll probably get some fish from the.
No,
The
no,
docks, I'm
no,
sure.
the inn, the silverfish inn.
Well,
We just need a drink. We've been traveling, and he's very special, as you can tell.
I wrote it all down.
yes, well, I haven't.
Especially just
And I show him
pictures
like
of
the
faces.
crudely drawn thing
Yeah.
and
it's like
everything.
pictures, basically.
You can't. There's SSS and there's like just a couple of sentences like.
Well, if you'd like a drink, the slosh is where you're going.
That's what I said.
It's you're gonna find that down at the docks, of course. But you yes, an odd group. But where are you from?
South.
Obviously.
Alright.
Good day.
And he walks back into his house. You hear the door actually lock behind him.
Yeah.
So there.
He's like, I don't even want to deal with people today.
Well, that makes my day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll head
We're
over
going
to
to
the
the
slosh.
docks.
Which he told you,
Slosh.
the docks and the
Yes.
slosh.
Yes.
You still don't know where they are.
Yes.
We have a general idea where the
Well, I
water's
mean,
at.
yeah, we could
Yeah,
probably
you
go from
would.
where the.
We go that direction.
I
Yeah.
could possibly smell where the water or fish would be.
The whole place, while it doesn't smell fishy, does smell moist. It does smell like a watery area.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, could I just heighten sense, smell, possibly? I don't know. If I say food, people would
Yeah.
go. It was just like, man.
Find some food.
I don't
There
know,
are
like,
muffins in my
somehow
house.
really smell tea. 'Cause it's an unusual drink, I would say.
Make a survival roll.
Oh, that sounds so. Oh.
She's rolling hot tonight.
Right now it's an 18 plus 4. Yeah.
Ooh.
22.
You don't catch a scent of tea anywhere.
Oh, I'm gonna hate this place.
Wait, didn't they say that this was a really
Fancy.
strong drink?
It's a fancy place. Very
Yeah.
fancy.
In this place, as you guys are in it,
Wait.
like,
There's not
Stables.
fancy places on the dock.
There were stables involved.
there were some tables involved in what he said.
Let's find the horses.
Oh, there's
There was
the
a
mason.
stonemason
Yeah,
too.
this is the mason's the forge. The mason is.
But was
pretty
the
much nice
stonemason
place.
the inn? Does anyone remember?
The stonemason was the nice man.
Yes, yes, that's it.
Well then let's go there.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other one he just mentioned is actually the rough and tumble one. So
If
that's
all
what I
else fails, we'll
was
just ask
Sure.
where Galwan's shop is.
Oh,
It's gotta be near. That's the one name
But
I
he's-
actually know.
but he's
Yeah.
not here, right?
No, he's not. But his shop is still there.
You want to go
People-
knock on an empty house? Knock, knock.
No.
Let's just go to the inn.
Let's
No,
go to the
okay.
main road and walk around like tourists.
I-
And as you tour through the city,
I'm an
it
elf in a
is in
dwarf
fact
area.
a very interestingly built city. It's kind of a somewhat tiered structure that has a bit of a feel of kind of like adobe houses, where they're built into the side of the mountain kind of thing. This is actually and literally the only reason you guys didn't know where the river was, you very first walked in it, that was the right way, is because of what you said specifically. But it basically, it's a cave that curves and opens up and then opens out to the east, where the river is. And so inside of that is then built this kind of tiered structure system that has one main road that kind of goes up around and like it's the central point, another main road that goes up back, and then one that goes down towards the other, with a bunch of secondary and tertiary roads in the middle of that, along with alleyways and such. Everything's very square stone structured, but there are some thatched roof spaces as well. As you do head eastward towards the water, being that that's the only real direction you have of anything. Actually, all three of you can make a perception roll.
We had least.
Perception.
Oh gosh, I'm so lost.
17.
13.
30,
I'm gonna
20. I
roll
like this,
wow.
you guys.
Yeah, so, what were you two? Which one?
17.
17? 13, okay. So you see it. You guys are walking by and you kind of look down one of the alleyways, and it seems to be that there is some type of stables situation down there. It's like if you would have continued on the main road that went straight, you might have got there. You kind of call out to the other two like, oh, hold on, I think this might be the way. And so and you guys kind of circle back around knowing that stables are
Yes.
generally located
Hey, you might
near.
wanna fix that.
No,
Stone
there's no
Mason's Inn.
horse there. I threw the
And,
horse.
as you do get closer, you actually see, like, literally, if you'd have
I
gone
threw it
one
on the
more
wrong
block,
side
you'd
of
have
the road.
found it. There, it kind of is recessed a little off the main road, so it's got almost this, like, entryway space to it between other buildings. And then there's a large kind of alleyway space that comes down and then kind of loops behind. But the front of this does, in fact, have a picture of like a chisel inside of a rock with a hammer over it, hung on kind of a large like wooden sign over the front of it. And it does in fact say over the top of that, stonemasons. And then under that, inn and stables. And it's all very well done, like very well done.
I walk in.
Yep. And you walk up to this, and as you walk through, you notice like this is a stable space, but yet the scent of horse and stuff doesn't really hit you as strongly as you would expect in this kind of area. You have a general idea from all the traveling the two of you have done, at least, that most stables are kind of rough. This, pristine everywhere. And you walk forward, opening up the doors, which, as you get closer to them, you can see are very well done, very ornate in carving and structure. And you open them up, and you kind of trample on into a very nice, warm interior that is mostly made of like darker woods on the floors, and the tables kind of match that, and all the chairs and benches are kind of padded with this folded over like red velvety type of cloth. And all the chairs are backed. The benches, of course, not, but the chairs are all backed at the edges of the tables. On each side, there is a large fireplace you do see going, and then directly ahead of you, there's a kind of U-shaped wraparound bar that has doorways that go back on either side of it, and then directly centered behind that, there seems to be kind of like a kitchen door type thing, where they would enter in and out. You see someone come out with a plate of food and set it down at the corner of the bar to one of the patrons that's already there. It is just a kind of tousled-haired, normal-looking human. He is wearing nice clothes, but he just looks kind of like a merchant-type person.
I walk up to the bar.
All right. You are greeted by a young girl who is in like her early teens at best, and she is dwarvish, of course, and so she jumps up. Hello, what can I do for you? Welcome to the Stonemasons Inn.
Companions and I are looking for rooms.
Fantastic. Where are you from? Where have you traveled from today?
The south.
All over. Marikos, and that's really all I know.
Oh, wonderful. Wow. You are quite the travelers. That is very south indeed. Well, how long will you be staying here?
Presumably a few nights, maybe 3.
Perfect, perfect. Will you be paying in advance or as per night?
If I could pay per night.
Okay. I need to check something.
We didn't even ask how much it cost. We're just going
That's true,
to
you
go
didn't.
here. I don't have the money for this place. This isn't very nice. They don't even
Sleep in
have.
the stables, those seem pretty nice.
Those seem pretty
Those
nice.
nicer than from the ground.
There's no dirt here.
Of course there's not. We keep it very clean indeed. And you actually see a couple of other dwarves like sweeping behind where you came in, like, sweeping up the dirt
Made a
of your
mess.
travels. They're actually sweeping like the rug of the entrance as well, and just really making sure everything's kept up
It out.
very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Sweep it into the road.
Yep, exactly. And they do. They like you can even see like making that assumption and looking forward, kind of out. You do see one open the door and another kind of just like sweeping it off into what looks like a kind of like sewer drain type thing out there at the edge of the corners of the entryway area. And she responds to you after kind of going through her notes. Well, it would be. It appears to be 5 gold per night. Though if you will be
That's per room?
staying with us, yes, per room. If you'll be staying with us for a full 5 days, we can give you that discount of 1 gold discount per night.
Okay. So for I'm assuming 3 rooms, it's 15 gold.
How many beds are per room?
Well, it depends on which room you choose. There are a couple that have multiple beds in them, though they do have a bit more of a cost to them. Most rooms are single occupancy.
3 rooms.
3 rooms. For 5 gold a night, it's 15 a night. We stay for 3 nights, it's going to be 45 gold. So for 5 nights, it's going to be
Minus
75, and then they'll take off 15.
Don't.
So it'll be 60. So it's only 15 gold more. Stay for 2 more minutes, making it a free night, which I could have done more simply.
I do math like a tornado does math, so whatever you said didn't make sense to me, but neither would the other way. So
Now, the other way would have been, well, it's 5 gold a night, and for 5 nights we get
One
1 gold off, which is 5 gold discount, which means it's 1 free night.
yeah,
No matter how many rooms we get.
exactly.
Mm.
Do you have that type of money? Do the blades?
I look
do,
at
do
him.
the blades?
I look at him like he asked that question. Yeah. And I just get out the packer pouch, and I just chink 60 gold.
So is that a yes?
5 nights for everybody.
It was 5 nights. Does that cover baths, food?
Well, food is extra. There are bathing opportunities within, though you will have to.
Opportunities, or are they paid for? 5 is pretty steep.
Of course. Though this is a wonderful establishment, much better than you'll find elsewhere here. But the bath situation is as such. You can request to have water brought to your room, heat it yourself, and utilize the bathing area inside of your room. Or for a small fee, you would be able to utilize the private bathhouses we have as well, which would come preheated with water and all of the scents and washing materials you could desire.
Out with it, dwarves. What is the small fee?
3 gold per use.
That's small.
Yes, yes it is.
Maze leads to Kael. I'll cover food and bathing. Because some people desperately need a bath.
I would assume you all desperately need a bath. Most travelers do.
Wait, what?
So Maze will cover.
Okay, so how many
What about
bathing
clothing
situations?
laundering?
That
Included in the bath?
that would not be included in the bath, no. But
With
it
a
would
small
be,
fee.
for 1 small fee, yes, of 5 silver per outfit.
Dwarves, man.
We'll do 4 outfits.
4 outfits would be, if I'll pay 1 guild if you pay another.
Okay.
Yeah, half.
Okay. Moving that for gold.
Okay. Dwarves
And then,
the
well, that was for the laundry. How much for the bath house for everyone?
It's 3 per use.
3 per usage, yes.
Maybe 12.
Yeah. Okay.
Picked up quite a bit of money on earlier journeys.
That's not the point of it. It's the dwarves. They all they care about is the gold.
You are welcome to stay elsewhere if you do not feel it is an appropriate
That's-
price.
That's fine. It's fine.
Sorry,
Look-
he's from the
Look, if you're gonna
trees
complain about this the
outside.
whole time, then you
No,
can
no,
go elsewhere.
I-
We won't pay. I'll take my goat back.
No, I appreciate your gesture.
Maze gives her an extra gold. Sorry for the rude wolf. Or
Woof.
wolf. Wolf.
Tree boy!
Well,
And I say, sorry, he's used to trees and dirt.
well, we have neither of those things here.
Yes, and he's probably freaking out over it. I appreciate your
Unfortunate.
patience.
Thank you. She takes and pockets
Yes.
the 1
the
gold.
tip, yes.
Mhm.
We're
And the
gonna
rest
be
of it
trouble.
she counts out appropriately and exactly.
Mhm.
You guys' math. Whatever your math was, just do it right.
You got it.
She does that and puts it into like this little chest thing that she pulls out of the underneath side of it. And you did give her the exact amount right.
Yes.
Perfect.
We were just whispering
we're
just
not-
in best when
Just
we
in
were-
case, like,
DM
just in case you guys
DM
did
went over
try to
like, wait a
pull
minute, what are they
something, you
doing?
could with a roll, but if you're
No.
not
It's like,
actually,
no, we're
then it's
not.
fine. I just
Oh,
want to see
we
if you
left
wanted to
with
be
more money
nefarious.
than when we
Weird.
came in.
Where's
It's like,
Coral?
here, let me-
Where's
listen,
Coral?
listen,
We
listen here,
shortchanged her. We quick changed her.
Right, yeah.
Like, yeah, I've got a bunch of gold. Can you make it into silver? And it's like 15 gold
And
pieces.
then you do this, and
And
then,
then
you
they're
stop,
like
and then
getting
oh, wait,
out
but
150
here's-
silver.
Like,
and
oh,
it's
no,
like,
also
hold
this,
on,
and
I
they-
also,
and
yeah, and you take that, and you're like, I also need, you know, these put into platinum, and then she just
Right.
like, she just like takes the
just
15 gold and then
okay.
converts 10 of them into platinum.
Exactly, yeah.
Hands you a platinum, and you're like, all right.
Yep. A terrible thing to do.
It's rude and
Such
that's
a
not how it
paladin
works
move.
in a good cashier or teller at a bank would 100%
Yep.
catch you, and you would be possibly arrested.
Yes. Precisely.
yes.
But you
Actually, I would
do
not
so,
do that.
and she seals away inside of the lockbox the gold that has been taken in, and then see it slide underneath the counter again. And yeah, you guys heading to your rooms now?
We would like to eat first.
Okay. What would you be having? Perfect.
Nothing too ostentatious, but I think we've all deserved a nice meal.
Yes.
Perfect.
I've only killed the one thing that I was hunting.
You're carrying a dead animal in your
I need
bag?
to-
Is that what
No,
you're saying?
no, no.
I need you to.
Listen.
I need you to relax. Trust me.
There we go.
Well,
Very well.
for the special, the general traveler's special, we have 5 silver pieces per meal.
Okay. So we will do 4 meals.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. She takes the 20 silver pieces, or 2 gold if I'm not mistaken on the calculations on that, and puts that away as well. And then she motions out towards a couple of empty tables. Please take your seat wherever you would like, and I will have one of the
Drinks are all
servers
late.
bring that out.
Okay.
Shortly.
Whenever we take our seats at
Well,
Maze.
I guess tea's not on me.
Yeah, I'll have tea.
Non-tea drinks are on me. I get a little.
And then
Oh, you just pull the cask out.
I
I'm
pull
gonna
my
sit right
giant
next to
book,
him.
For Coral to sit down.
Okay,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
set
your
another
massive book that makes
Yeah.
no sense. Yeah,
Her
okay.
book that's
20, yeah,
heavier
it's
than
a
my
Bible.
word.
Yeah.
Which you don't need to be carrying around anymore.
Coral's like, climbs up on it, sits there, and waits for the food. Okay, so shortly after that, food is brought to the table, and it's brought by just a kind of a middle-aged dwarven man. And he's got his beard all very neatly kind of braided down in multiple braids down from his mustache all the way down, and his hair is slicked back into like a tightly done kind of ponytail. And he's got a very nice like overcoat type situation going on, and he brings the food out. There you are.
Thank you, thank you.
And for you, and you. Oh, and for you as well. There you are. Will there be any additional drinks needed here?
Yes, do you have any kind of teas or herbal drinks?
Of course we do. And he starts reading out like 40 different types of things.
The best tea.
Of
And
course.
Anyone else would like a tea?
I've
Coral?
got this maid that.
No, I'll take the mead. I'll just take the
How
mead.
about you, Coral?
Yeah,
Yes, one for Coral.
the
as well.
best you
The
got.
best.
He's like, oh, absolutely.
Yes, us ladies deserve the best.
What size would you like that in?
The
we have-
largest you got
Oh,
for me
the
and for her.
Oh, perfect. Wonderful. Absolutely. I'll be right back with that. And he kind of shuffles off.
Just
And
Don't get tea too often.
Goblet for him,
perfect. Yep. Yes.
none for me.
And he comes back with just a goblet for him to use. Okay. He comes back with the empty goblet kind of held underside in his hand. And then on a kind of tray he has two very large mugs, basically.
size,
Basically like that. Just massive
Which
mugs.
this is filled with tea.
And that is basically half of Coral's size.
Okay,
So
I
she
got
can,
her
she's
one.
like getting up, like drinking out of the top of it, and like kind of angling it back with like a full
Taking it
weight to try
back,
to get
yeah.
out of it. It's
Basically, they're
like,
the Coral
"Oh,
like you bring it.
and he leans back in. Okay, that will be 10 gold.
Okay. And got it.
Super expensive tea. She asked for the best.
I did ask for the best. It's okay. Just be happy I give you back your gold.
Is this what you guys do? For adventure, you make so much money?
The thing about adventuring is you do good deeds for people out in the country, and then they pay you money, whatever they can.
Wow.
And then you come to the city.
And then you spin the
Sorry,
gold.
the microphone
Sound
picks
effect.
that
It
up.
would have picked it
I'm
up.
so
Perfect
sorry.
sound effect.
And you spend the money on the people who need it. Now, granted, this is a quite a large establishment, but
Considering what we went through, I feel like everyone deserves this.
we're going to be meeting with important people tomorrow.
Yes, that's what
We
I
don't
wanted
want
to
to
know.
be smelly.
What are we doing tomorrow? What's going on?
Walking.
Well, we're going to be meeting with whoever's in charge of Dwevelhelm, or whoever's in charge of whoever's in charge. There's always a bureaucracy. There's always someone you have to talk to, a hoop to jump through.
Part of the adventure life, huh?
It's part of the adventure life, and if we're going to be notifying the powers that be in this city of what's happening in the world beyond, we need to jump through the hoops. This is a hoop.
This is a nice hoop. I mean,
It is quite the nice hoop,
yeah.
but think of it this way. Do we want to be the ones that came in through the gates and just demanded everything? Or do we want to be the ones who showed up, staying at a nice inn, seemed to be important, didn't ask for
no.
prices?
No, I see where you're
Just
coming
us.
from.
The only reason we asked for prices is because we wanted to know how much gold to get out.
Oh. That's never even occurred to me.
Right. You talk about the dwarves and all they care about is gold. Well, if you show them that you don't care about it, they're more likely to listen to what you have to say.
Very well.
Now, drink up.
Yes, indeed.
And then I materialize a goblet with the ring.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Pour it in there.
absolutely.
It's a pent cup.
Absolutely.
That thing
It's
is
a
gold.
beautiful goblet appears in Kael's hands, and it is, because of the style of the weaponry that you've seen before, it is a gnarled dark wood base to it with a metal chalice top that is a goblet opens up and circles around and is inlaid with a multitude of large, 4 in total, large stones similar to what you'd see on the base of the hilt. It's all silvered inside with the wood kind of coming up around and cresting off just at the top where a silver edge comes all the way around of it, and the silver itself almost seems to kind of sparkle and radiate light off of it. As soon as the meat touches it, it comes up, and you can actually see that the stones are inset through it to where the meat itself shines through the actual stones.
This
and
goblet's
addresses the
bigger than
gold.
mine.
Yes, of course.
I pour the same amount.
Okay.
It is his.
Yeah. I'm not gonna harsh your mouth.
Nah.
So like,
That's
yours
fine.
is basically
That's
like
fine.
3/4 full.
Yeah, it's bigger, but it's
Yeah.
you get the same amount.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Yes.
Coral, they're giant.
Yeah, Coral's just kind of
Get in the
rocks,
picture.
and then rocks back and just like just goes back to drinking
Just
the tea.
kind of like gently
Yeah.
tap
Because
hers,
it is-
clearly she can't lift it.
Right,
It's
because
like,
it is
"Teek, there
the
you go."
best tea you have ever had in your entire life.
But here's the funny
Totally
thing
worth
about
it.
this. I can't set it down.
That's true.
I
That
have
is
to
funny.
finish
We're not
it.
ever gonna notice
You can like
this.
set
He's
it
just gonna
there,
be holding
but
it
then
and then
it'll go away if you take your hand away from
And
it.
then the meat just
Yeah,
Actually, the
like-
way you figure that out is that you do just naturally, you're like, okay, I'm drinking, I'll sit this down and then do something. You go to like move your hand and it just kind of comes with you and you're like, oh. Oh. And you just hold it still.
Yeah.
Because it just won't leave
Yeah.
because it didn't have to be taken
Wait.
away.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay!
Coral's deeply amused by your magic tricks.
You shouldn't have given me this. Right? I'm gonna find some stupid ways to
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, I mean, the goblet itself technically was supposed to just be weapons, but I liked it so much that hell yeah.
You're like, yes, do it.
You can beat someone
I'm
with a
over
goblet.
here like everything is an improvised weapon.
I made a mistake here.
Like, oh no, we need a boat. Oh, we have
Got
a
cannons sticking out the side. Those are weapons.
Yeah.
I have to put a limitation on the size of things.
It has to be handheld.
Right, yeah.
Like it's handheld.
You can
So
hold
it's a little
the
toy boat.
steering wheel.
Or then I just make a boat steering wheel. That's all I get.
Yeah,
Like,
you just make the wheel.
yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make a boat.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Which would actually be a very interesting weapon. Interesting. That could actually come in handy big time overall.
Yeah.
I'm interested in
Handy.
the allowances
We
I may
get-
give that.
I'm over here like, I won't break it too bad, but I am gonna do some silly stuff
Right,
with it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So you guys come together, have this great meal, wonderful drinks. The mead is unsurpassed for both of you. You have never had a better drink in your entire life, and it seems to have some form of almost enchantment to it that just makes it better than you would even imagine. Same with your
I feel like
teas.
This is like the same feeling we have when we eat those muffins.
And it is similar. It does strike you as similar, particularly the two of you. But you get a little as well. Not to quite to the extent, but you and Coral do
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
feel that same feeling. That feeling of,
If it's, it was,
You know.
Yeah.
how much? 10 gold
Oh yeah.
total?
10 gold for the
two
twos.
teas.
Yeah. Mhm.
Hey, 5 gold? Like, that's a night here
Yeah.
for a glass?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yep.
That is magic tea.
This is one of the tea that Coral and I talk about for years. She obeyed it.
She stops.
I paid for the bath.
No.
You can pay.
Shakes her head and then she just goes back to drinking it because she's like you could see her eyeing it like I could fit into this. I could actually make this work. Nope, 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 nope. Don't do that. It's not
No, he
polite.
said
And you just see that inner dialogue happening. But you guys have this wonderful meal, feel relaxed. And after your meal is completed, the attendants come by and gather your plates, take them away. Make sure that your drinks are fully full. So we'll say that you did not request any more, and that it was enough
It
as
was
it
a
was
massive
the
amount of
massive
tea.
amount. And then as the kind of light that comes through begins to fade away entirely, because of the structure of this, there is a way that the light actually bounces in off the snow on the eastern side of the Aran River. There's snow on that mountain, and the light of the setting sun actually hits it and reflects into the space, giving you a full day's light in this area, even though it is underground. Seems intentional and possibly enchanted on that side of the river. But the night does kind of come to a close. A couple of dwarves come to you guys, similar braided beards, along with They are actually wearing these white, like silken kind of robes that have belts across the center, and like soft shoes. And they step up and they, what are you doing?
We're drinking
Oh,
mead.
I thought he was stabbing the cheese.
That's like, it's either that or something worse. And there we go.
Corking the meat, like it's we're done
But,
with it.
yeah,
Okay, that's what
we
we're
had-
gonna call it for now. He's
We had
corking
maybe
the
a bottle's
guys.
worth.
Shining the sword, corking the mead. Oh my god.
Very good
Okay,
mead.
so they come up and there are actually 4 of them. Each one comes up to you. Shall we show you to those baths now?
Yes.
They are prepared for you and ready.
Yes. Thank you very
They
much.
lead you guys back to the bathhouses.
He's still holding onto the cup.
I'm taking it with me.
And they don't judge you. They've dealt with more. They've dealt with more
Whenever I
obnoxious
pay the woman,
situations.
I'm like, sorry for anything you may have to deal with. That's always like,
Yep. And she kind of looks over and just like goes back to like shining up some glasses that she's got there. You guys have a wonderful, refreshing, relaxing bath, and then are led from there to your rooms, each in turn. You lay down. It's very nice rooms, the softest beds you've ever slept on, which is extremely confusing, especially for you because of your opinion of dwarves sleeping on stone beds and in the dirt and all that. You do not expect any of what you're encountering. And as you begin to kind of drift off, you feel like maybe the views you have of people aren't necessarily correct. But you still don't like dwarves, and you still don't trust them, and you still think they're just here to take your money.
Oh, that's true. They are.
But maybe they're okay people. I don't know. Anyways, sleep time, and you just like kind of fall asleep.
Yeah. Think about that while I'm going to bed.
yeah.
Like,
You don't like
This
them.
should
They're
be
not
cold.
wrong
This
for
But you
doing
just
what
don't
they're
like
doing.
Yeah.
You just don't like them.
Exactly.
dwarven magic. It's
Maze, you
gold
fall into
magic.
a deep, deep sleep, and you actually do have a brief dream of being a small little, what's the word for these things? Pup. You are in essence, a white wolf. Just kind of doing dorky little puppy stuff,
Yes.
you know, bouncing over some like logs
too
and chasing
big.
your tail and rolling around in the grass. It's a
Yes.
very pleasant dream. And other than that, you just basically, yeah, exactly. Other than that, you just have a restful evening's sleep. Coral seems to have slept well as well, and Kael, you before going to sleep actually hear a familiar voice, not the gravelly voice of your winter-shrouded god, but the deeper, well, it took you long enough here. Come see me when you get a chance. I'm glad you made it. And just echoes in your mind. Like, okay. It was the same voice you heard prior to meeting CERN. When you thought you were calling out for Coro, you heard this voice and, okay. You still don't know who it is, but a voice in some form of magical means has come to you.
Harmony's like, tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
First thing, promise.
You actually say it out loud, and he's like, "Wonderful. I look forward to meeting you in person, Kael Strutz."
Who are you so that I can come to you?
I am Pathwell. More details you'll receive in the morning, as you said. And then you just feel the presence on your mind just kind of fade away.
Okay.
You fall asleep and have one of the first dreamless sleeps you've had in a while. You rest soundly and fully, and as you wake up the next morning, fully recovered, ready to start your day and see what other adventures may lie within Dwevelhelm. That's where we'll pick up next week. So thank you guys for hanging out with us throughout. Appreciate those of you that stuck with us as we hung through for an extra 30 minutes or so because we started an extra little bit late. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. And we will see you guys next Monday right here. Adios.